and why I believe it. It's not something I'm looking to debate.
Okay. Animals and such.
Okay.
Is it
Well,
wrong for
animals generally aren't self-aware? Does that make sense?
By sentient, I just mean the subjective experience. So the ability to be something. Because like with a rock, you don't have an idea of
They
like
are.
what would it be like to be a rock. But for
Well, they
like
are
animals, they do
they're
have
being
that
a fetus.
subjective experience. What?
I said, well, they are being something. They're being a fetus. They have the information and the
Oh,
ability.
for the fetus, yeah. Once the fetus gets sentient, then I value it, and I would say it's wrong to abort it at that point. But before the brain starts sending waves, then that's different.
When does that happen for you?
Brain activity begins at 5 weeks.
So I'm gonna argue just the principle of it. Like, so if you're gonna say 5 weeks, then okay, 5 weeks we cut it off. I'm just gonna argue the principle of it.
Okay.
What about the heartbeat?
Oh, what about it?
Is it valuable when the heartbeat happens? When the heartbeat starts?
No, I value continuation of consciousness. I'm not sure what the heartbeat would have to do with that.
Well, generally, the children are born unconscious. It happens frequently, and children are proven not to have a consciousness in regards to self-awareness and the ability to understand their surroundings until about the age of 2.
So you're talking about something separate than what I'm talking about. When you use the word conscious, you're using it with a different meaning than what I mean when I say the word consciousness.
Okay. So when you mean consciousness, you just mean
I just mean a subjective experience. That's all that I mean.
Okay.
But instead of subjective experiences, how about we deal with facts?
Why?
Because facts trump opinion.
That's not okay. What do you think? Do you not think that it's a fact that people have a conscious experience or a subjective experience?
Well, of course, when it doesn't negate fact, that it doesn't change fact.
You don't think it's a.
I know. But I don't want to.
There's a little bit of a delay, so I'm not trying to talk over you guys. It's just a little bit of a delay. I can't tell like when you're talking or I'm talking.
Yeah, we're dealing with the same. 2 + 2 can equal 5 if somebody is taught that. But the fact is 2 + 2 does not equal 5. It equals 4. No matter what you're told, what you're taught, or your experience in school, the fact is 2 + 2 is 4.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the relevance of that is.
Because I had suggested that we deal with facts.
You can say a person's life doesn't technically start until their brain is fully developed, and that would be the age of 25. So that can be your opinion, but that is subjective.
No, because I'm talking about a very specific thing. When I say subjective experience, it is a fact that thing exists, and it's a fact that at some point that thing begins to exist.
Absolutely, but it is not when it is developed.
Well, that's fine, because I'm not arguing for when it's developed. I'm arguing the principle of it. When it is developed, then we would extend the moral consideration. Before it is developed, then we wouldn't. I'm not sure how that relates to like 2 + 2 = 4, though.
No, I think what she's trying to say is that subjective opinions don't define reality. So they may describe it, but facts are still facts regardless of how you perceive it.
Are you talking about moral facts? Is she talking about moral facts?
It's reality. Fact is fact.
There's going to be facts in different domains. There's going to be like epistemic facts, like facts about knowledge. There's going to be like moral facts, facts about morality, mathematical facts. Like it's facts aren't facts. It's going to depend what type of fact you're talking about.
Okay, so on the abortion debate, what did you come in the box to debate?
I wanted to talk to Tyler, but I'm happy to continue the conversation. I just wanted to figure out like which point of view made more sense. So if you had like some type of, I guess, like obvious issue with like my position, then if there was like some reductio that showed like that this position was absurd, I would abandon it. I also was just curious to ask a few questions about your position and just figure out like whether or not that made sense as far as that
Right.
goes.
No, that definitely makes sense, and I
It-
understand where you're coming from.
Mhm.
But
I
like
just
I'm saying, hold on, Nicole, one second. Like I'm saying, you cannot definitively prove when consciousness begins. So you could say you believe life starts when consciousness is present,
Yeah.
but we don't know when it truly starts. We don't
Yeah,
know
yeah. If
what.
you're talking about like practically, I don't think we can know like the moment, the second on the clock when it starts, but we can know what the necessary preconditions for it are, and then we can take a precautionary principle and cut off abortions like before the point where those necessary preconditions for sentience would be, which I would say is like brain waves.
Okay, I
well, if you're
could
talking
agree with that.
brainwaves, like that's very, very early on in the pregnancy. I don't know
5
exactly.
weeks.
It is
Yeah,
5
sure.
weeks. I know the heartbeat starts 18 to 21 days after conception. That's 3
Mhm.
weeks. 3 weeks. People don't even miss a period at that point.
Yeah, I think for the preconditions for sentience, what I'd heard is like 8 to 10 weeks, but whatever it ended up being is what I would go with. Like, because I'm not like married to a specific time. It's just whenever it was determined that those preconditions for sentience existed, then that's where I would cut it off at.
No, that makes sense. Well, brain activity does begin at 5 weeks, but that fetus still has the necessary tissues to create a brain at conception, because nothing just appears out of nowhere. So it has all the necessary tissues and information to become a person and have a sentient brain. So
Um,
it's
yeah, so well, something I guess maybe just saying necessary isn't going to be like probably good. I probably shouldn't go with that because like you could say that there's like almost just tissue in general is going to be necessary for there to be sentience in like a being. But I could say like necessary and sufficient if there's like
right.
sufficient preconditions for
Like
sentience.
I said, I understand what you're saying, but even in that regard,
Oh, you're cutting out. I can't quite hear you.
oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Uh, like I was saying, sentience doesn't define humanity, and I can understand where you're coming out with the beginning of consciousness. I can understand that, but not everyone is aware of themselves at that point. But that doesn't make it.
That's okay because I don't value the like awareness of oneself depending on how you're defining that. It's just like whether or not the ability to experience is there. It's not like self-awareness or anything like that.
Well, those born with disabilities don't have a lot of that awareness of
Well,
who
it's
they
fine
are.
because I'm not valuing the awareness. Just valuing the ability to experience. Even people with disabilities are going to have that ability to experience.
Not all the time. Some of them, yes, but a lot of them don't have ability because of their
If
disability.
if you're talking about like they're not sentient, then that would just be like brain death.
No, not necessarily. You, like I'm saying, consciousness and being unaware of who you are, where you are, they may not have the experience. I'm sorry, they may not have the ability to experience.
I I think
And
maybe
it's not
maybe
necessarily brain death, because in regards to brain death, your body cannot function without your brain. But
yeah.
essentially, someone
I think maybe it'd be better if I just use the word if we just use the word subjective experience because I think we're getting caught up on like equivocating
okay,
on the word consciousness. Because
okay,
what I take the ability to experience or subjective experience as is if you didn't have it, you would be brain dead. It's that just base ability to like have any experience at all. If you didn't have any of
brain
that, you
death,
would be brain dead.
So
brain activity.
a baby inside a mother's womb experiencing the pain of an abortion, does that qualify?
That would be morally wrong if they're sentient at that point. Yes.
Okay.
Uh, there is. I'm not advising anyone look this up because it's extremely disturbing.
It's very hard to watch. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
It is extremely
In
hard
regards
to watch.
to abortion, second trimester fetus, when it comes to being torn apart, they will avoid the instruments because they know it results in pain. And there is video footage of things
They
like
try to
that.
fight it. They try to save themselves in the womb, and the womb is supposed to be the safest place on the planet.
Yeah. Well, look, we can probably find a little bit of common ground here. Is I think
Oh,
people say
absolutely.
like abortion is okay at
No,
any stage in the pregnancy, even like that late, to where they're like feeling pain and everything. Then I'm gonna be right there with you, saying that's like morally wrong.
well, again, when they feel pain is
It's very
undetermined.
When they
Their
have the
spinal
ability
cord
to
is formed,
experience pain, because I not like
again,
feel but experience.
because their spinal cord is formed at uh, 3 to 5 weeks, I believe it was, and it's not fully formed until after birth.
Yeah.
So they don't have the ability to comprehend pain, but they
Hmm.
still feel it in a way. It still damages their body.
Yeah,
So,
because I'll just take subjective experience as like a necessary precondition to have an
okay,
experience of pain. Because if you're like brain dead, I don't think you're gonna feel somebody like slapping you or something. Um,
right. Their body doesn't know how to respond to it, but it's still suggested that they can feel it. I currently don't have the study, unfortunately. I really wish I found it. If anyone can find it, I'd be extremely happy because I haven't been able to. There was a study done, and it was a premature baby. I believe she was 22 weeks old, and they used heat sensors because generally they test pain by reaction. Their body doesn't know how to react, but it does. When it comes to infrared, it reacts. You can see the reaction. So their body doesn't know how to process it, but they still feel it. So premature babies are experiencing pain constantly. So in the womb, they'd still be able to experience that pain.
yeah, I guess I would like kind of I would give like I guess I would care about that pain in the same sense that I would care about like um pain that's like inflicted to a brain dead person. I don't know that that
Well,
there's
at
gonna
that
be
point,
any
they're
type
in
of
activity, so they're not
yeah.
brain dead.
Well, you have brain activity when you're brain dead.
No, I don't think you know what brain dead means. Brain activity means brain death is the absence of all brain activity.
So brain deads have they have like some electrical signals. It's just not like the right ones for sentience or consciousness.
Okay.
I'm trying to see. I had something pulled up. This just talks about homeostasis maintaining in physiological functions. Although even for any type of homeostasis or physiological functions in the body, it would be necessary for the brain to be sending the signals to make those functions like happen.
Right. So when I'm talking about brain death, I'm talking about their bodies are still functioning because of technology. So
Yeah, that's
life
what I'm
support.
talking about as well. But
Okay.
the body has some homeostasis maintaining functions, and they're still kept alive by machines. Like
Okay.
someone with a pacemaker is gonna have like most of their homeostasis functions, but they're one thing that's not working, their heart, they're gonna have like some piece of medical technology keeping them alive. The brain dead is like similar, but there's just no consciousness.
Right. Okay.
But do you care if I ask like a few questions about you guys' position? I just there's like
No, but
a few things there's like a few things stopping me from adopting a kind of like can life starts at or like moral value starts at conception type position. There's just like a few weird ways I think that goes
okay.
that bother me.
Oh,
So do you take the I'm guessing you take the idea of we extend moral value if something is one, a human, two, a life, and three, unique DNA code. That's the one I hear most people saying, but I want to make sure you don't believe something different.
No,
For the
that's
most, it's accurate. Yeah.
You said, okay, that would be accurate. So human, alive, and unique DNA code. So this is the one issue I have is at face value, it seems to sound like a really good objective, like black and white place to draw the line to say this is what like a human is like a unique life, right? It's unique. It's going to be unique. It's going to be a human, and it's going to be alive. But the problem is there's some persons that are actually going to not fall into this category that we would still want to give moral value to, like identical twins. Like they're going to have unique DNA code, and then they're going to be alive and
Yeah,
human, right?
they still have a unique DNA code. It's more similar, but they are never exactly the same.
Well, it depends what you mean by unique there. So that's a hard one because are you talking like epigenetics or like what specifically are you talking about?
I'm talking about their DNA code not being exactly the same. So even though it is very similar and often can be tell apart,
Hmm.
there's no DNA code that is exactly the same.
But
And
that's going to be true.
Yeah.
That's going to be true like cells in your body too. Like there's going to be some that have like an incomplete transcription of your full body's DNA. There's going to be some that have mutations, and we wouldn't like morally value each cell in the body differently. But the basic like set of chromosomes and like DNA sequence of an identical twin is going to be the same, just like it would be like the same across cells in your body.
Spider, during embryo splitting,
Oh,
but growing into it.
cutting out a little bit. I didn't quite hear what you said there.
I was addressing one of the comments. You okay, Nicole?
Oh, I can't wait. Are you talking?
No,
I can't hear you. Hello? Oh,
Can you hear
I'm
me?
not able to hear. Yeah, you cut out for like a while there. I don't know if it might be my internet, but
It could be mine. I have full bars, but TikTok is weird. What was it you said?
you were talking about the embryo splitting. That was the last thing I heard.
Right, I was addressing. What you were saying again, because I haven't.
Yeah, you were talking about the embryo splitting. That was the last thing I heard.
Right.
You guys
what
referring to
say I was addressing one of the comments.
Oh, okay.
For that. But we got sidetracked. I need you to repeat what you said prior.
Oh, prior. Yeah, I said. Oh.
And that I'm getting lost.
Well, it's just lagging really bad for me. Every time you guys start talking, it starts to lag.
Sorry.
Okay. What was it you had stated or asked prior to addressing the comment? Because this sidetrack has made me lose my train of thought. I'm scared as soon as I start trying to explain it again, it's going to cut off, but I'll try. Okay, no, I can hear you, the ability to hear you, so you say what.
Okay, so I was saying when you say that the identical twin has like a different unique DNA code, it seems like what we mean by different is kind of a little bit weird and arbitrary because we could say that like every cell in the body has different DNA. Some of them are going to be missing parts in the transcription. There's going to be some that are mutated. So like cell to cell in the body, the DNA is going to be slightly different. But I think we would still say that humans just have like one unique DNA code because those things are like abnormalities in it, right? That's just that DNA code is still for the most part getting transcribed throughout the body. So for an identical twin, wouldn't it be similar? Like they're gonna have the same DNA code, but there's just gonna be like some maybe epigenetic differences from like their environment or whatever. But that's not gonna change like the actual chromosomes and DNA from being different.
Right. Like I said, their DNA would be slightly different, and I get. I'm thinking of the best way to address this. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, and you make a good point. But in regards to that, the DNA of a fetus will never be replicated. It will never be the same. So when it comes to being deformed or whatever, it would happen regardless. Even though they have your DNA, it's still your DNA within those cells.
The DNA, the genetic code of a fetus can never be replicated. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
like their individualistic DNA, because it is a unique combination of the mother and father, and they have this unique.
I mean, it's
sibling
gonna be,
not gonna be the same.
but if it could be duplicated, that's when you would get like an identical twin if the zygote had duplicated, right? Or maybe I don't remember how
No,
that identical twins are. Oh, you're cutting out again.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me yet?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay. When it comes to identical twins, a singular fertilized egg does split into two, but they did have the same DNA at one point, but it grows to be different. So even if they are identical twins, it is still slightly different.
Okay, so that's what I mean when I say like it grows to be different. That's the question. That's what's in question that I'm like not sure about is what exactly you mean by that, because that's going to be true of just like a single human too. Like your DNA is constantly going to be like getting a little bit different. I think that's called like epigenetics, based off of your environment and stuff.
True on one hand, but that doesn't change that your DNA itself, like it may be changed and affected just as you are as a person.
Maybe I can just make this like a little bit better. So if we're going to take like just epigenetics into account, I'll say sure. I'll grant if we have different epigenetics, then we'll say that is enough to count for being different, and being morally valued as different. Let's say I'll just grant that. I guess then I would go with, do you know what like a conjoined twin is? So that's a twin that's gonna like share the same body. So they're gonna have the same organs, and their epigenetics are gonna be affected in the same way. They'll even share sex chromosomes if they're conjoined twins of the same gender. They can share like 100% of DNA up to the 6 chromosomes, and since they're one body, the epigenetic is gonna be like the same as it would be with one person.
They would technically be the same sex because identical twins are boy or girl from the moment of conception. You just can't tell until later, so they would definitely be the same sex.
Sure. So then the question is, would unaliving one of them, would that be like taking of a life?
You can't. I don't see how you could unalive a conjoined twin if they're conjoined.
Like one of them. Like if they have two heads, you take away one of them.
That.
Still, even then.
Oh, you cut out pretty bad there.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah. Okay. I may have to restart.
Okay.
If it keeps lagging. If it keeps lagging, it will, but I'll try to keep going.
Yeah. Well, it's lagging really bad.
It's starting to eat.
Yeah, it's just lagging really bad.
Okay. Normality, what, Spider? No, we're debating the morality of abortion, and I definitely can concede that 5 weeks is the cutoff point. I believe it should be legal entirely, but I am willing to concede a little bit in regards to to come to an agreement.
Oh, so if you'll like agree to the sentience thing, then that'll be it. I'll just agree with you 100%. Yeah.
Okay. No, I can understand where you're coming from with that, and even though I know life does start from conception, I can understand where you're coming from in regards to an activity, which does start at 3 weeks pregnancy, but it would be, 5 weeks pregnancy, but technically 3 weeks after fertilization.
Oh, I think Tyler has some beef with me. If you wanna, I don't know if it will still lag in here, but
probably.
He's in the comments, so I would be glad to talk to him.
After, and even though I know.
Oh, it's still cutting out really bad. I can't